It's your favorite girl, Corday Decoto, best known as Dr. D with Talks with Dr. D. And I am so delighted that this is one of our first recordings for Talks with Dr. D. Last week, we had the wonderful Kashan Abdul Kadir that led us in a meditation. And this week, we have the fabulous Nicole Ndzibah. Nicole Ndzibah is a mother. She's a wife. She's an entrepreneur for the Caftan Cuties. She's also with the Tommy Hilfiger group and a professor. So Nicole, welcome. Tell me more about yourself.
Hi, everybody. First of all, I'm so honored to be here, Dr. D. I'm excited that you even asked me to come on. And you summed it up very, very well. I am, like you, from this area. I'm a New York girl. I am in the fashion industry, currently working with Tommy Hilfiger as a retail business trainer for the company. And then I also have other interests. I'm in the same sorority as Dr. D, the same sorority that a certain vice presidential candidate belongs to. Mother, married for 21 years to my wonderful husband, and I have a high schooler and a college age student. So I am a busy, busy, busy woman like many of the people in your audience, Dr. D.
Well, I think that's fabulous. And it's my pleasure to have you here. So Nicole, what made you start the Caftan Cuties? Because when you first told me about it, I admit I thought old frumpy fat woman in a muumuu, and you made me laugh and say, no, sir, that was not the case. So tell us, what made you start this movement? Because as you guys can see, I'm wearing a fabulous Caftan now because of Nicole.
As you are definitely one of several Caftan converts in the group. I mean, just like a lot of things that started in 2020, although 2020 has brought a lot of strife and grief, 2020 has also borne a lot of creativity out of people. And Caftan Cuties was one of those things that was born out of this pandemic. Just like everyone else, when we first were thrust into the pandemic and told that we had to stay home, I was one of those people who was, looking for things to do that would keep me occupied. I'm home, I'm with 3 other people, we're remote working, we're doing school, I'm teaching, and just on the weekends and after work, it was kind of like, okay, so what do we do now besides just watching the news? So I participated in virtual events in early pandemic, and I was on a tea one day, and my older sister was on it, and she just mentioned, because we were all talking about our new reality of working from home, and she mentioned that she was going to be as she put it, embracing her inner Mrs. Roper and wearing caftans to work from home. And I thought that was cute.
Hold on. And for those who are millennials watching this, Mrs. Roper comes from a show called Three's Company that was popular in the late 70s, I believe.
Late 70s. I think they kind of went into the early 80s, but they were, they were waning in popularity at that point. But yes, for those who don't know, for the younger people who are
Generation Z,
Mrs. Roper was a character on a show called Three's Company, and she used to wear these flowing, just fabulous outfits that at the time, as a young child, I was just like, she's always wearing these just colorful, voluminous outfits, and she'd have a lot of beads and bracelets and everything. But she kind of became like this poster child for the caftan garment. So a couple days later, my sister tells me how she bought a couple more, and I was like, well, that's cute. And I knew I had in the back of my closet one that one of my friends had bought me many, many years ago that I probably wore once, because we had actually joked about the day when we will one day be caftan ladies who just float around the house. And I just was, I'm a social person. And I said, oh, it would be cute. I'm like, it would be cute if I just declare the first Saturday in April Caftan Saturday. And I said, I'm going to encourage my friends to shed whatever their quarantine costume or uniform had become at that point. So for me personally, I had been wearing sweats every single day, either sweatpants and a hoodie or leggings and a hoodie, but some version of sweats. And, to my credit, I was like, I'm getting up every day, I'm taking a shower, because I was still working at the time. It was before I was furloughed for the summer from my job. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to encourage people to shed whatever it is that you're wearing, whether you wake up in midday, you shower and put on pajamas, whether you're living in sweats like I am. I said, I'm going to, tell people just for fun, encourage them to wear caftans for a day. And like, again, out of boredom, out of, need to do something fun, I told people to use the hashtag cutie in a caftan as they post. And it was actually another one of my friends who suggested that I actually start a group, because she said, well, I don't know all of your friends and I won't see the pictures, and I would love to see the pictures of who participates. So I started a group. And I initially thought it would just be for this one Saturday that I would do this event. And I had people writing to me saying, oh, this sounds like fun, but I don't have a caftan. I ordered some, and you're going to be here in about 2 weeks, so I'll be ready for your next one. And I had to laugh because I had not thought about doing anything past this first Saturday. And from there, it just became a thing where, every couple of weeks I was hosting Caftan Saturdays. Different friends were suggesting things. One created cocktails inspired by our movement. Others suggested other activities. We've had a movie night. All of this has been taking place virtually. The group grew from about 50 women in the first weekend, with maybe roughly 20 women who actually posted pictures, to over 1,300 women now. They come from all walks of life. They come from all parts of the US as well as Canada. I have some in the Caribbean. I have one who joined who's in Mexico. And the thing that's amazing about it is, at this point, they're not even all my personal Facebook friends. Mm-hmm. These are people that have been invited by other members of the group who feel like, this is your tribe. You should be here. You should be with us. You would love it here. And it's just such an amazing spirit. But yes, Dr. D, definitely, when I invited you, you said you did not understand what I was inviting you to do. You said, am I asking you to put on a muumuu or a house dress or a house coat like, grandma and them used to wear? And, that's why I decided, to you always, and I feel so blessed that you always include me in, your praise updates and your reports as it comes to your health. And I remember it was after one of the reports that you sent me that I said, you know what, I'm going to send her a gift. I'm going to actually mail her a caftan. I'm going to order a caftan, send it to her. And I remember when you first put it on and you posted and you said you felt queenly. And I was like, he gets it.
Queenly moves. I was in queenly moves.
And she gets it. She understands. So yeah, that's where we are now. That's what has brought us here today.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So tell me, Nicole, what is you were talking about your professional background with Tommy Hilfiger. How does that relate to the fashion world? And tell us more about what it is that you do fashion-wise that brought you to the Caftan Cuties.
So amazingly enough, I've always been on the business side of the fashion industry. So I've always been on the merchandising side, buying, planning, the allocation team that, determines the levels of inventory that stores should have for various companies that I've worked for. Currently at Tommy Hilfiger, I work as a business trainer, which allows me to take the knowledge that I've picked up along my career and train people who are buyers and planners and, in the roles that I've served in. And I also, work a lot in different retail technology. So I'm never on my professional side, except for the times when I've worked in like visual merchandising. So, those are the people who make the stores look amazing and prompt you to want to buy because we make the stores just so wonderful. I've always been on the side that's like, okay, how do we make the money off of this? But I've always considered myself to be a frustrated creative because deep down, I'm a very creative person, not so deep down, but I'm a very creative person. That's just not something I get to express on my day-to-day professional life. So I've freelanced. I worked for a couple of years on a big fan festival for BET, where I was able to kind of flex that creative muscle and design the environment. Create pop-up shops. So, I got to work with vendors and show them, how to best sell their merchandise. So I always had that creative streak. So when I started this, I wasn't really thinking of it in terms of, selling a garment, pushing a specific garment. But because I like fashion, obviously, when I'm now encouraging people to, take off their regular home clothes and put on a caftan, I'm putting it on and I'm feeling beautiful too. And I'm feeling great about it. And I'm having people reaching out saying that, there were people who were surprised because they had never worn one before. When they put it on, they had a similar reaction to you, where they felt that they looked so amazing and felt so good about it. But then I decided, well, then I'm going to have fun with it, because now, since I am, very, very steeped in fashion, I love fashion, and, in my job, even though I'm not necessarily on the design or buying side, I'm still following the trends, because I have to keep up with what is it that my company is doing and know what's the priority of the people that I'm training. I definitely was paying attention to what the cuties, as I call them, our Facebook group is called Caftan Cuties, and I refer to the members as cuties. I started paying attention to what they were saying about, how they were wearing it. And, I was looking at how everyone started styling theirs differently. And I said, this is a lot of fun. Everyone's having fun with it. So I decided to have fun with it too. So again, I gave birth again and launched a fashion and lifestyle blog, because I said, well, this is a great platform, because now I have all these women wearing these caftans. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about
Absolutely.
how we feel in it. So I write about how we feel in it. I've done a couple styling videos where I'll put up my caftans on my friend Lola here, and she'll wear a caftan and I'll style her and accessorize her, and I'll blog about it. I had one brand that the cuties have patronized that reached out to me to be a guest blogger on their website, and they actually sent me some of their fall.
Lovely.
Thank you. They sent me some of their new fall caftans and asked me to write up reviews. So on their website, there's reviews and pictures of me wearing 4 of their new styles. And now that the seasons have flipped, I'm having a lot of fun with it, because some point during the summer, my daughter had even asked me, what are you going to do when it's wintertime? Like, what are you going to do when it starts getting cold? And I said, well, interestingly enough, we started wearing them in April when it was a little cool. And as the seasons changed, as it became summer, I was like, okay, well, now I'm going to stick to shorter caftans that I'm wearing now with flip-flops, because the longer ones were too warm. And I'm going to wear this kind of bag with it and these kind of accessories. And now that it's fall, I find myself having fun all over again, because I'm like, I don't feel like I need to stop wearing them just because it's fall. Last week, I styled a shorter one because it was still somewhat warm in the Northeast, but I styled a shorter one, but it was a caftan that's in more earth tone colors, and I wore ankle brown suede boots with it, so I'm having fun with it, being able to kind of marry that side of me, that analytical side of me, that marketing side of me, that merchandising side of me that knows what is it that people want, what do people want to hear from me? What is it that people are interested in when it comes to the garment, and being able to create content for the cuties, as well as, other people that I try to usher to my little fledgling blog to just read about, well, how do we style them now that we got them? Because my cuties have amassed quite a collection of caftans. How do we style?
I have 3.
You have 3? See, it's a gateway drug. You start buying them, and next thing you know, everyone's very generous in sharing their different resources. And next thing you know, everyone's like, I ordered 1, I ordered 2. And it's
Exactly.
like, because it makes us feel good, in a year where there's been so much that's made us not feel that great.
Exactly. And so leading into that, what materials do caftans come in? Because we have people who could be watching this from all over, various parts of the United States, Caribbean, Canada, Mexico. Caftans come in, for example, I think I'm wearing rayon, but I also had one that's more, it was like an Egyptian gauze. It was beautiful that our mutual friend, Suzanne Greenwich, Dr. Greenwich, gave me.
Yes.
So what, for people who are in the Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, Southwest, what materials would they find caftans in?
So caftans come in all types of materials and all types of price points. So the very, very, very first one that I was gifted many years ago was made out of polyester. It's a polyester caftan, flowy, doesn't need ironing, very easy to take care of. You can throw it in the washing machine, hang it to dry, and it's good to go. And then I unearthed another one. I don't know if it would serve as a caftan. I call it caftanesque because I have a lot of other flowier dresses that, you can argue whether or not it's a caftan or not. But it was a dress that was gifted to me by my mother-in-law many years ago, and she's from Ghana. And that one is made out of like a waxed cotton that you find a lot of the outfits made out of that are, that come from the continent, that kind of firm waxed cotton with embroidery. I have caftans that are made out of rayon like yours, Dr. Cordai, and I found that the rayon ones, the ones that are more of a matte light lightweight fabric. Those were the ones that got me through the summer because those were a little bit more breathable. For those who aren't aware, rayon is actually a natural fiber. So, you know, like a cotton or a silk, but rayon is breathable more like a cotton than a silk is. Because I also have a couple caftans that are a silk cotton blend. And although cotton is breathable, silk is not necessary. It's a heavier silk, so it wasn't necessarily breathable. So those caftans, like I wore one during the summer and I was like, this is kind of hot. This is very, very hot on me. I also have caftans that, like my first one, are made out of a polyester like satin. So those have a more shiny sheen to those. Those I find are perfect during the cooler weather, or, you know, just like a crisp spring day or a crisp fall day before it's like too cold, because those definitely aren't breathable. So, you know, when you're hot, if you live in a hot climate, or if you have your own private summers, sometimes a satin polyester.
At private summers.
Exactly.
Due to the, to chemo, due to tamoxifen and other drugs that we take, private summers.
So, yeah. So if you're experiencing your own private summers, then, you know, sometimes a poly satin might be too heavy of a fabric or too unbreathable of a fabric. But I've seen them in all types. And as I've been looking, there's a vendor that I like to shop with who's based in Egypt. And they have ones that are like the Egyptian cotton, like a gauze like yours. But I also see they have some heavier woven cottons, because depending on where you are, it is sometimes a little bit cooler, or you have these desert nights where it's hot during the day, but at the night it's very cool. So those caftans they sell are somewhat heavier. I bought one and it came at the beginning of like the weather getting warm, and I haven't worn it yet because I was like, well, now it's too hot to wear it. But then I bought another cotton one from them that was just fine. So that's the beauty of it, is that they come in so many different fabrics, and they also come in so many different price points. I never would have guessed that there are so many resources for caftans that people
fantastic
buy.
I think that's great.
You know, it's absolutely amazing. And, you know, now that I'm in it, like I am so deep into it, I had to rearrange my closets the other day to carve out another space just for the caftans. And, you know, so now I've kind of turned my sites to hopefully at some point in the near future also being a resource for caftans, because I get that question a lot too. So are you selling them? Do you have your own? So, you know, I would love, again, I pay attention to what people are looking for. I have people looking for pockets. I have people looking for so many different reasons. So yeah.
Drawstring like mine, which gives more definition.
I love the ones that are drawstring. I actually have one that I bought from Morocco that's a really lightweight cotton. It's so pretty. It's the prettiest blue. And they actually hide a drawstring inside of the garment.
Ooh.
Yes. So you have to lift it up and tie it inside, but it gives you that cinch without having it tied on the outside. It is amazing. So I'm taking notes of all the things I love about all my favorite caftans that I've bought, because I'm like, okay. And I listen when people in my group are talking about what it is that they like. And I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention.
Absolutely. Next question I have for you. What would a breast cancer warrior, survivor, or caregiver, why would people affected by cancer want to wear one, or even a caregiver want to wear one? What makes caftans make you feel good for patients and people in this situation?
So one of the ways that I've described it is that when we launched the group, I encouraged people, as I put it, to shed their quarantine uniform for something lighter. And I literally was shedding myself of like a heavy cotton hoodie and heavy cotton sweatpants and slipping on a light caftan. But that literal translation can also be a figurative translation, because when earlier today, before I got on with you, I had something else to do this morning, and I was in leggings and a t-shirt and a zip-up hoodie. I was back in my other uniform. And when it came time for the call, I was like, okay, time for me to slip on my caftan.
Exactly what I did this morning too. I had a brunch and I changed some jeans shirt and a sweatshirt into my loveliness.
And I swear I didn't change my hair. I changed my earrings because I wanted them to match the caftan, and I changed my one bracelet. But other than that, all I did was take off the clothes. I didn't put on more makeup. Like I'd already had a light beat for the other Zoom I was on. I slipped on the caftan, saw myself in the mirror, and immediately I looked at it and I'm like, because not only am I literally taking off the heavier clothes, putting on something light, and it's like, okay, now I feel a little bit light and breezy, but it makes you move differently.
It does,
And
absolutely.
The members in the group have described it that way. They say they they float around their house. They said when they put on their caftan, they float around the house. They're not just walking around, no matter what they're doing. They're like, I might just be doing laundry today, but I'm floating around doing the laundry. It makes you feel it has this transformative property about it that I could put on a dress, but my dresses have a little bit more structure. They're cinched hair, I slip on a caftan, it skims over my body. I don't obsess about the parts of my body I don't like. And the way that it skims, it accentuates the parts I do like. There are caftans that have a high neck if you are someone who is more modest and doesn't want to show a lot of skin. There are caftans that are lower cut than what I'm wearing. If you think that, your top half is your best assets, there are some, I have one actually that was custom made for me. So that one is cut to my exact figure. And with that, hugs the curves exactly the way I want them to. So they feel beautiful on, they just feel light. They transform your look instantly, because the point is, I went from one event to another event, just slipped this on, and all of a sudden felt so elegant. And I didn't, decide I'm going to put on eyelashes for this. I didn't decide I was going to do a different lip. I didn't add more blush. I literally just slipped on the caftan. So there's that psychological piece of it that just makes you feel good. My mother was sick for 14 years. She had developed COPD and CHF. And outside of the times that she had to be hospitalized for periods of time, because at those points she was either in a hospital gown or a Johnny. So my mother was, when she was home, when she wasn't in like a rehabilitative facility, she was dressed. She was dressed. She was home. She had her, we had a hospital bed for her. She had a wheelchair. Most of the time she was sitting up in her wheelchair. And she always wanted to be dressed. But one of the things was she had to wear things that she can get dressed easily into. So besides the fact that, caftans make you feel good, they make you look good without putting in a lot of effort into your look. You don't even have to put on makeup. Some of the cuties, they throw on their caftan, they might put their hair in a head wrap, and they're like, I instantly look beautiful.
I've done that, especially for my cancer patients, especially when you've lost your hair because of chemo, you can put on an alopecia cap, an African wrap,
do a head wrap,
whatever makes you feel sexy.
Yes, my daughter's best friend, one of her best friends is recovering from cancer, and she didn't want wigs, didn't want head wrap. She was bald, so if you're like bald and beautiful, you put on the caftan, you feel good. Gorgeous. But the other part of it is the ease of putting it on. So my mother, she had to get dressed in things that was easy for her caregiver or us to put on her. So sometimes we would help her wriggle into, leggings because it would get a little chilly. But for the most part, she was in a dress, a gown, a caftan, because it's really easy to get dressed in. So if you're at the pace part during your convalescence where it's hard for you to maneuver and hard for you to dress yourself, and you have someone who's aiding you, or you have to dress yourself, but you don't want something that's complicated, caftans also serve that purpose, because you can put it on, but you look like you've put in an effort when all you've done is put on this one garment.
And you don't have to necessarily wear a bra that has a prosthesis, because it's so flowy. It's totally up to you, whatever you choose.
Oh, I got fancy for you, but when I'm just
you can be braless underneath and be just comfortable.
Yep. Absolutely. Yes, you can. You absolutely can.
Nicole, let me ask you another question. We've been talking about fashion and whatever. Let's bring the men into this. Can men wear caftans?
Yes. So very early on, I actually had a friend. So remember, I told you I freelanced for BET. So the person I worked for BET actually was one of our first, I call them caft men. And he actually found himself a caft man. He Googled, he was like, men's caftans. And, they're worn a lot by Middle Eastern men. And you see Indian men in something similar. They wear a kurta. There's an African dashiki. There's so many different versions. So, I give a little wiggle room when it comes to the men. He goes full on. His are ankle length. His are long. His are actual.
Wonderful.
Stands. They look amazing. Sometimes when he posts his pictures, the women go wild because they're like, you look like Jesus. You look like, like he's out there with very, very, he looks amazing in it. but there are some, there are some that are more tunic length for men that, I tell them, if you want to join, you don't necessarily have to go full caftan, put on what makes you feel good. If it's a more flowing like tunic or dashiki, there have been some members who have posted pictures with their spouses wearing
I've
a
seen them and
dashiki
they're fabulous.
that matches their
Absolutely
caftans, and
absolutely.
they look absolutely wonderful. And the thing is, we've created this wonderful space with whatever else is going on outside of the group. We all are experiencing it outside of the group. When we come into the group, we come in to feel good. We come in to share our pictures. We come in to big each other up about how you look, how you're feeling. People will admit they had a rough week, but they feel good now in their caftan, or they had a rough
I know
week.
you guys made me feel fabulous when I first put it on. So Nicole bequeathed me with one, as did our mutual good friend, Suzanne Greenwich, Dr. Greenwich. And that's when I was having my queenly moves because I was in her outfit. And I felt great. I didn't have much hair. I was wearing an African wrap and I had full face beat because I was like, I'm going to take a good picture and feel good.
Yes.
And you couldn't tell me nothing. And then when I got I got a one next, the Egyptian cotton one from Suzanne. Oh, I didn't tell me anything. And I had some hair too. Oh, with full beat face, made up for those who are like,
yes,
because I like makeup. And I felt fantastic.
Yes, it just transformed your look, but it also elevates your mood. And then the added benefit of being part of the Caftan Cuties group is once you post a picture, ladies don't even need to know you. We are so complimentary and it's so genuine. Like everyone's like, oh my gosh, you look amazing. And it's like, oh my good, thank you, because, Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey, every time I've heard them speak, they always speak to how everyone wants to be seen. And in that group, you're seen. And not everyone posts. We have 1,300 members, but I know I have not seen 1,300 people post pictures.
There's some people enjoy watching other people.
They love watching the pictures. Lovely. It makes them feel good. People will go out in their gardens and take pictures. People have recruited their grandchildren to take pictures, or they have perfected the art of the self-timer to take pictures. Because it just really, it's a mood elevator. And this has been a very heavy year. And anything that we can do to make ourselves feel good. And, in your case, which is, why myself and Dr. Suzanne sent you the caftans, anything we know that will help someone also elevate their mood, you want to share that. You want to share
Absolutely.
that. Yes.
So Nicole, as we're wrapping up, because we're running out of time, I want to say thank you so much for being on our show. I want people to follow Nicole. You can find her on Facebook. Give us all your tags, because if you are, I want you guys to write into me at kdstyling18, the number 18, kdstyling18@gmail.com. And if you give us something special of why you want a caftan, you just might get one for free. So Nicole, tell them where they can find you.
Yes. So the group that started it all is called Caftan Cuties. It's Caftan with a C, Caftan Cuties, and that is on Facebook. So join us there, join the party. It's a fun place to be. I also have an Instagram page at _Caftan_cutie. So on there, I post my looks. When I'm dressed up in my caftans, I post my looks. I also will mark it when we're having our caftan events. And then occasionally, I'm actually overdue to do this, I will feature some of our cuties from our Facebook group on my Instagram page, just so you see what my cuties are up to as they're, slaying pandemic in their caftans. And my blog is called The Caftan Cutie. If you Google The Caftan Cutie, you will find it, but it's thecaftancutie.com. That is the name of my lifestyle blog. So find my musings about what's in my head and what's going on with me and my thoughts on caftans and other things. I think those are the three main places that you can find me. You can and I have a YouTube page as well. So I will be sharing this wonderful interview on my page as well. And my channel on YouTube, as you might have guessed, is called The Caftan Cutie. So everywhere you can find me, I'm under The Caftan Cutie, and the group is Caftan Cuties on Facebook.
Nicole, thank you so much for being on my show. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Talks with Dr. D. I'm on Instagram at Styling by KD, again, Styling by KD, and our webpage, which is www.kdstyling. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Email us to find out how to win a free caftan, and join us next week. You have to get our weekend, this is a weekend kiss, our weekday hustle usually gives you a prelude to what our weekend kiss is going to be. So thank you so much. This is your favorite girl, Dr. D, signing off. Nicole, bye-bye.
So much for having me. Bye.